take away the economy from those who rigged it. As I see it, class warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas, and good morning to Northeast Texas, Southeast Texas, Northeast Louisiana, Southeast Louisiana, and all the nooks and crannies where our 100-watt transmitter permeates its signal to those still using FM transceivers. We are going to have a great show for you today, but we can't forget our people around the world. Barcelona, Spain, London, England, Dublin, Iran, Irlanda, and all these other places where people have called in, chat in, and spent some time with us, both here at our 6 o'clock show and our 3 o'clock show. Thank you guys all for being here. Thank you guys all for your support. Before we get started, of course, we must get to the people, to the geniuses, to the ones that really make this thing happen, the ones who make sure all those pins and needles are tied together, those tin cans and strings are tied, the ones who make Politics Done Right a reality. My brothers, the geniuses in the studio, good morning.
Oh, that is just way over the top there.
No, sadly, it's the truth.
And Jack, you noticed that we lost 99,000 watts for our transmitter?
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Did I do that again?
The girl said our 100-watt transmitter, and I thought, well, we done lost a whole bunch of power here. We might not even be getting out past the city limits on that one.
Folks, it's 100,000 watts, not 100 watts. 100,000 watts. Okay, I corrected it. Thank you, my brother.
100,000 watts searing across Southeast Texas. This is KPFT Houston in my big announcer voice.
Love it.
Oh, I wish I had one of those.
Yeah, me too. Oh, Jack, you got some wisdom there. You got darn near a whole page of that stuff.
Yeah, last week, Egberto started talking about the addictive processes in some of the commerce that we have, So I thought I'd write. I've been thinking about that a lot here lately, that we have a lot of commerce that's built on addiction, and, the people are getting sick from it. I mean, obesity, renal failure, diabetes.
Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet, man. The Supreme Court decided that the Chevron laws had to go. Okay. And you know what that means? That means that we're all going to be poisoned to death by the corporations. We're going to have unsafe cars, unsafe food, and it's just going to go on from there, because Congress doesn't have to ask the experts what's going on before they pass laws, which they're going to relax every law that there is as far as environmentalism, as far as everything else. So, within 20 years, we're all going to be gone anyway. So go ahead.
Oh, man. No, we got to leave something for the people. We got to leave something for the youngsters. We got to leave something. We have to leave something worthwhile for them. So here it goes. America has a problem with our health. Certain corporations use addictive ingredients to keep you buying their products. I'll give you a hint. In a grocery store, if a product like chips, which are salt, or sodas, which are caffeine and high fructose corn syrup, take up a whole aisles in the grocery store.
Two of them.
I mean, yeah, that's two whole aisles of nothing but stuff that's bad for you, really, because, the corporate manufacturer knows that addiction is going to drive these sales. The amount of caffeine in sodas is about 40 to 50 milligrams per 12-ounce can. And that's a lot. And then you get the high fructose corn syrup in there, where your kidney's going to get a break. Your kidneys get a double whammy. And if If you drink energy drinks, these highly caffeinated energy
Ooh,
drinks, it's
yeah.
even worse.
Just put me on the ceiling.
Yeah, and your kidneys will process this stuff for a long time, but eventually it does the damage that caffeine does to kidneys. I've already had one kidney stone. I know about it. So
Ooh.
anyway, just people be aware in your day, and as you go through your day, the addictive processes in some of the stuff you use. Of course, cigarettes, of course, alcohol, of course, other addictive drugs. But they're putting it in our products, and we're not really aware that that's going on a level we're not aware. But it's happening every time you drink a soda. You're getting caffeine. You're getting the high fructose corn syrup. And these things are bad for the body. So, anyway, that's where I'm at with it.
Well, that's some wisdom for you right there.
I mean, just eat right, folks. And you know what? Unfortunately, as Howard just pointed out after Jack pointed these great things on that grocery store and that bad eating and that purposeful addiction, there's going to be nobody to protect you because the six Supreme Court justices allowed, they dismissed, or rather, they brought down Chevron. No longer does something called precedent matter. And now corporations are going to be. Let me explain a little bit about what Chevron really meant, because I think a lot of people don't get it. Whenever Congress writes a law, okay, they write it in the aggregate. They kind of write it to cover things, but they are not scientists. They are not all these different things. They just know what they know to write laws. And then we have agencies that are populated with educated scientists, engineers, lawyers, and otherwise that turn the intent of Congress into laws based on their knowledge of science, math, and otherwise to ensure that you, the people, are protected. Well, corporations don't like for you to tell them what to do. If they find a way to make a profit, even if it hurts you, their responsibility isn't to you. Their responsibility is to the shareholders, which is not get sued and not get you to tell them that they can't do something that they want to do. Well, the Chevron prevented that in this manner. Chevron said when Congress writes a law that the agency, whether that's be the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, the FEC, and all these other agencies that have jurisdiction over that particular area of government, they will create the regulations that are governed by the law passed by Congress. Now, if Congress says we want water to be clean, and they decide that clean water means having no MTBE in it, that's sort of a an additive for gasoline that causes cancer. And they say the most parts per million you can have in MVTE is, I don't know, let's say 1 part per billion or something like that. Well, because oil companies are around aquifers, etc., they may say, man, the best we can do based on how much junk we're throwing in the ground is probably 10 parts per billion. Well, the congressional law didn't say you can have 10 parts per billion, which defines clean water. The Congress simply said, we want to have clean water. The agency defines what clean water means. The Supreme Court said, if Congress wants 10 pieces, 10 parts per billion, they have to specify absolutely everything that agency has to write in regulations. And if there is a dispute after the agency decides that 10 parts is too much, it's going to go to 1 part, and the company sues, The only authority to change that, in other words, it's no longer left to the discretion of the agency, the federal agency. Now, 9 Supreme Court justices, well, you know, it's really going to be 6, decide if we are going to say that what the agency did is correct or not. And guess what that means? That means that if you have 6 conservatives who care nothing about the environment, they will defer not to the agency, but to the profit making corporations. And where do you think this leaves people? Where do you think this leaves people who got ill from talcum powder? Where do you think that leaves people who, from excessive high fructose corn syrup, as defined by Jack earlier in his piece? What do you think they would do in its regulation as far as how much to say is safe or not safe? Folks, you are, with the people we have elected over the decades, we have thrown our freedom away. The thing about it is, we have thrown it away in an insidious manner because we don't quite see it. And before I forget here, looking at the screen, I want to tell Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain, welcome to the chat. Look, let me tell you, what they have done with Chevron is the slow walk to Project 2025. Project 2025, the basic goal is to eliminate what they call the administrative state, which means we don't want the government, we the people we elect, we don't want them to have the power to control our health, our education, or anything else. Project 2025 says, to hell with the education department, we want it gone. To hell with anything that administers corporations and pass regulations to ensure that your life is safe. We're going to talk about the election, we're going to talk about Biden and the debates, etc. But remember, all of this ties in together. And that's why an election of Trump in 2024 is a clear and present danger. When you have, and I say this word and I mean this word, when you have a lying imbecile as your leader, all the people that surrounds him, which are a faction of those who support Project 2025, that gives them free access to do all. And with that, let's go to Brother Johnny before I get on to the actual title of the show. Come on, Johnny. How are you doing this morning, sir? Mayor of Politics Done Right.
Yeah, you mentioned clean water, clean air, and that got me to thinking of that nuclear submarine drama movie with Denzel Washington and not Robert Duvall, but the other actor whose name escapes me right now. There's this famous scene where the submarine commander, the captain, I should say, tells Denzel Washington and his other people that we're here to protect democracy, not practice it.
Yes.
So that's my line. If I were Joe Biden, I would have told Donald Trump, you guys, you talk about clean air and clean water, but that requires governmental oversight, agencies. We have that in place, or we had that in place until your party, your people, your tribe reduced funding and then micromanaged them to death and putting in party hacks who don't care about governance or oversight or regulation or anything. So how do you propose we get clean water and clean air, Donald? Something like that, I would say.
Yeah, and that is what was so painful about the debate. This morning, they were on MSNBC. They brought charts to debunk 3 important lies that Donald Trump told on stage. That Biden had the perfect opportunity to go ahead and line drive and to tell 51 million Americans that, are you crazy? Let me tell you what these numbers really are. And that 2 minutes gave him a chance not only to fact check Donald Trump, but to tell Americans after he fact checked Donald Trump what he was going to do going forward. This missed opportunity, and I love what this guy has done thus far, A lot needs to be done, but I think it is malpractice, and I don't want to sound harsh, but what occurred there with free willing Donald Trump was malpractice. And a lot of people's after these debates wear off a bit, they get a little bit better and they feel a little bit less apprehensive or harmed. As time goes on, I am feeling more harmed. And I'm going to express that a little bit in the blog of the day that I have to say. But, Johnny, anything else before I jump to Augie?
Yes, dovetail with you feeling more harmed. Let me give you a sense of how harmed I'm feeling. There's this TV ad, and I hate advertising, but there's this TV ad that's come out recently for one of those Jiffy Lube type oil change places, the quick little change, and they've got it where they make people, the car owners, look stupid. They drive through the door.
Yes, through the door. I saw that. Yes.
Yeah. Now there's this other guy with this weird-looking haircut who's obviously some kind of a gymnast or something, because he said, "Oh, I didn't have time to stretch my legs." So then she says, "Oh, I guess you have to do it home," and she hits the top of the door in a friendly manner, and she goes on to the next customer. And then they cut to him back at the house in his kitchen, straddling the kitchen counter and something else while he's buttering up a sandwich or something. And he goes, "Oh, I guess I'll have to do it home." So my complaint is, what is he complaining about? He's complaining about nothing. As opposed to me, my complaints are grounded in reality. Hello.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Johnny. You have a wonderful rest of your day. You've just heard from Johnny, the mayor of Politics Done Right. Let's go to Brother Augie, one of our greatest supporters here at KPFT. He puts everything on the line for this great station. Talk to me, Augie.
Hey, you don't only have 100,000 watts of radio power. You have 100,000 watts of facts and truth, and some great music on the side when you get on this station here. But I was thinking about that debate Thursday, and on Friday I was thinking about it when Democracy Now! Came on, and they said the debate between Nixon and JFK. There were two different audiences. The one that saw him on TV and the ones that heard him on the radio.
Right.
The ones on TV saw what was going on, and they thought Nixon lost. The ones on the radio, all they heard was the voice. And the ones that heard Nixon thought Nixon won. And I was thinking about that. I think just about everybody saw it on TV. And I was thinking, well, it's more like a boxing match. Boxers, when they get in the ring, the first round, they just try to check each other out. And the knockout punch comes in the later round, not the first round. And so we got one more round to go, another debate scheduled. And on Friday, when Biden spoke, he spoke with force and power. And that's the guy we needed to see Thursday. But understanding he had a cold and he was trying to clear his throat. And that can throw you off when you're in front of camera, and there's a lot of people watching the show. So hopefully the Biden that came up on Friday the next day will be the one we hear and see at the next debate. So we just got round 2 coming up, and we can.
Sorry to interrupt you, Augie. Let me just tell folks that are listening out there, I am supporting, and let me take my host hat off. I got to make sure and say that. But speaking to you, mano a mano, I will be supporting the entire Democratic ticket, whoever it is, because I think that MAGA, the MAGA leadership, and notice I said the MAGA leadership because we are only victims of the news, the news we get and who we have to develop trust in. But I will be voting the entire Democratic ticket, not because I'm going to like all those folks on the ticket or anything of that sort, but because Trump and the Project 2025 people represent an existential threat to our country, to our existence as a democracy. That said, my brother, listening, I agree with you about the listening versus the seeing. Unfortunately, a lot of people saw. And the little that Biden said, the little that he said when he was completely coherent, he ran rings around Trump, because Trump was just lying, and the few things that Biden said were truthful. He made a few numerical errors, but not latitudinal errors. So, I mean, I am with you there. Now, whether it comes to stamina, forgetfulness, and that sort of stuff, those are things that I think, in my humble opinion, we have to simply say there are some people that may want somebody more vibrant, and if that is the case, we have to look at the entirety of what will give a win in November. I'm no genius to know that I have some ideas. You have your ideas, and others have it. But I think people need to sit back in the next few days and not wish on a star. But I tell you, I'll say I when I read my blog, I hope I get to it. I'll say some more on that. But anyway, wait, I'll get finished for me so I can go to Tag and Harry.
Yeah, well, I was going to follow up with what you just said yourself already, that actions speak louder than words. It even says that in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You heard what he said, but look at his actions. That they speak louder than Biden's words. He's done a lot for this country, and I'm glad he won in 2020. And,
I am too.
We do need to, like you said, we need to vote for the Democrats. We got to get out, Cruz out. We got to get John Cornyn out. We got to get the state congressmen and senators in Austin out. We need to give them some support. So everybody's got to do their work to make this a better country. He can't do it on his own. He needs support, and that's one good thing about Biden. He listens to his advisors, and he's got his wife there helping him out too, which I'm glad. But he's not like Trump. He went through so many advisors during his term. He said he fired them. Well, no, bunch of them quit. He didn't fire them. They quit out because they saw how bad he was. And
but not only that, if you're doing a good job, why fire the person? And I think if you take a look at if you look at the charts, you have to say that the guy's people did a great job. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. Actually, I think I'm gonna bring the numbers in. Is that okay, Augie?
Sure, that's fine. And Trump said there was no war going on when he was president. I guess he overlooked the Afghan war that was going on, and he said he was a great negotiator. Well, he's the one that negotiated the American withdrawal. He gave the Taliban everything they wanted. He got nothing in return. America got nothing in return. And the date he picked wasn't his administration, it was the next administration, which I figured he figured he was going to lose, so he put it on the withdrawal on the next guy to handle.
Thank you, Augie.
Was Trump's.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Let's go to Tag. Come on in, Tag.
Good morning, Alberto. I'm with you 100% Democratic. That's it. Just pull that lever and be done with it.
I appreciate it, my brother.
I'm glad
Anything else you want to say?
Well, here's my reasoning for that, okay, real quickly, is because of the right-wing politics against minorities. And it's as much rhetoric as anything, but I did a little reading about the Le Pens in France because it looks like France is going to go right-wing. And the Le Pens, especially the father, he said that the Hitler was being humane by running all those people through the gas chambers and my thought was that because it was the quickest way to eliminate those people. And Hitler believed that these people were like vermin, like roaches or mice or whatever, that they just needed to be eliminated. And that's the right-wing policy yet today. With Trump and his Muslim bans, all the minorities, the way they look at all the minorities is the same way. They just need to be eliminated. And I'll never support that. I'll never support that minorities need to be. We have a place in this country for minorities, and we ought to value those people. So, like yourself, for example, we don't need to be marching people through a gas chamber. So that's why I'm going to vote blue.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate your words, and I'm glad that you brought up Le Pen because I want to point out that in as much as Le Pen won the first round in France, let's realize that what they won was 33% of the vote. There, you at 30, the rest, and let's also point out that the France government got 21% of the vote, and the Popular Front got 28% of the vote, and some other left wing parties got some other percentage. So there's still the vast majority of the country isn't right wing. It's just that the right wing picked up a substantial number of people. If we also take a look at here in America, our right wing, the people who got convinced by the right wing fringe, jumped to about 30 something percent of the population as well. So while we give the right a whole lot of kudos for, wow, they're getting strong, what we mean is they're getting stronger than they were before. But when you take the pulse of America, when you take what Americans want, they want progressive values. When you itemize these things one at a time, they want progressive values. It's how these things are packaged, and how they're packaged is based on how we've got the, like I've spoken about the Powell memo, and these things are institutionalized throughout the West, where you see this right word action come into pass. But I just wanted to point that out. Le Pen's won, that's in France, but they still didn't garner not even close to a majority. Just want you to know that. Thank you very much, Tag.
Thanks. Have a good day.
You too. All right, let's go to Harry. Harry, come on in, real quick.
Good morning, Roberto.
Good morning, my brother from another mother.
Thank you. I love Tag's input about people of color in this country, and people who are not of color of this country should value us more, but they don't, because as I've spoken about on this show, it's about the demographic change, and they're always concerned about that. People like Donald Trump are concerned about demographic change, but they should, like Tag said, they should value this. And to help the mayor of politics done right out, the movie he was talking about when he was talking about the submarine movie, he was talking about Crimson Tide, and the actor that escaped him he was talking about is Gene Hackman.
Yeah, I love Gene, yeah.
Yes, that was one of my favorite movies, too. I enjoyed that movie. And I also love Augie's input, as usual. He always has substance.
My brother, we have great inputters, but I have a lot to talk about, so I'm going to ask you, tell me what you want to talk about.
Oh, well, just talking more about the debate. Yeah, Joe Biden was not on his game. My friend was talking to me from Florida. Who's too afraid to call you. I wish he would call you so you could talk to him and set him straight about Donald Trump.
Let me tell you something else that I do. Because we really want to make change, and we really want to talk to everybody. So you can also feel free to give him kpft@politicsdoneright.com and tell him he can have, if he doesn't want to talk in person because maybe it gives him concern, he can reach me by email. I believe in talking to everybody. So give him kpft@politicsdoneright.com.
I told him. Not only did I've given him the number, I've told him that you can reach him by email, and I've given him all that info.
Okay, great.
So maybe he'll do it one day, but it's just, I just hate my friend being played for by a sucker, a grifter like Donald Trump. I was gonna say, Joe Biden, he's just gonna have to, do better. He did answer some of those questions. Some I fact checked. They said that he was not completely accurate on one with the drugs that he talked about. He did correct himself later with the number. He had misspoke.
Yeah,
on the
CNN
number.
did a poor job in fact checking. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Donald Trump outright lied. Biden made some mistakes in numbers and corrected them. Some of them it's just like throwing out an aggregate number. And unfortunately, it wasn't the same as what Trump did. But Harry, I need to go to two callers, and I want to read the blog that I wrote. So
and I want to listen to that, hear it. So we'll talk some more tomorrow.
Thank you.
I'll comment more on the debate. And Howard, Jack.
We'll talk. We'll talk, Harry. Let's go to Donald. Come on in, Donald.
How are you today?
I'm fine, sir. Give me a quick one, my dear brother.
Quick one. I got no respect for either one of those two men. They're humans, and number one, they're both Americans, and they didn't walk across each other and shake each other's hands, even in boxing. When you go out, you tap hands, you go to your corners, you come out fighting. There's no respect on that stage, and that's what they're dividing America with.
America is divided
when they finished or anything else, and that was just the rudest thing. Because if it was me, I'd have went over there, shook his hand, and gave him a hug, and said, let's debate.
Biden, I must tell you, I'm going to ask you, Donald. I need to interrupt you just to make sure that we get the right message across to our audience. When they both walked in, Biden faced Donald and started talking to Donald as if to make an approach. Donald looked at him with an evil face and immediately turned around to the podium. And Biden then went ahead and turned to the podium. I ask you, all of us have eyes. Go ahead and pick that video up and watch as the two of them were approaching. Biden has a smile on his face, and he was talking to Trump, and Trump was stone-faced, turned, and then Biden turned. So that's what really happened. It takes two to tango.
It doesn't matter. You still, when David and Goliath faced off, you still go toe-to-toe, look your opponent in the eye, and you still address him, whether he hates your guts or not. You be the bigger person. Always.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you as that you have to be the big person. But like I said, if he's not going to raise his hand to shake, there's nothing you can do, right? But Donald,
but then you let everybody see it. When they refuse that handshake, that lets you know right off the bat who you're voting.
Hey, Donald, guess what the media is going to say then? The media is going to say a weak Biden was shunned off by Donald Trump. It's all a game, and both of us know the game, and that's the reason.
That's why you go to his face, let him be the piece of crap that doesn't shake your hand, and you look at the camera and you throw your hands up and go, well, at least I made the approach.
Donald, before I go to Patrick, sorry to interrupt you. Before I go to Patrick, I'm going to tell you something. You see, you are a good person. That is how you think, all right? That's not how a lot of folks it's going to come across. You just showed your character right there. Unfortunately, that is something that we need to bleed off to others. And that, we talk about this all the time. So anyway, Donald, anything else before I jump to Patrick?
No, that's it. Later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, brother. Peace. Let's go to Patrick. Come on in, Patrick. Uh-oh, it looks like we lost Patrick. All right, folks, I want to read this blog, and I want everybody, this is a blog I wrote yesterday on my Egberto Off the Record newsletter last night. Actually, I wrote it in the afternoon. And, it pained me to write the letter, so let me go ahead and read it. And remember from what context I'm reading it. Democrats, let's not fight about the Biden debate debacle. Let's trust each other in seeking options. In my humble opinion, it is incumbent on us to think country first. That's who Democrats are, not party, not person, or personality. We must have the back of President Biden and the country. That's a subtitle. Now, here is the text of the post that I wrote. And welcome, Lizard Queen. Welcome, Eric Hayes. Before being completely frank, I must say the following. I was a Bernie supporter who wanted our country to be as progressive as Scandinavian countries, which see the value in a government with an essential and revered role. That said, I am of the firm belief that President Joe Biden saved this country from a second Trump administration that would have destroyed our democracy and the middle class. Pleasantly, Biden also became the president who got more progressive policies through Congress than any president in my lifetime. I have since wondered, because of our current state of indoctrination, whether only a moderate neoliberal president could get progressive policies passed. I watched most of the Sunday morning news program this morning. They all echoed the same theme. We know the debate was a disaster. It was not only a disaster for Biden, but for the country. After all, Trump was just a lion snake salesman with nothing to offer Americans or the rest of the world. The polls say that Trump won the debate. One could ask, what does that mean? If you turn the sound off, his performative antics will give him a win. However, as far as what came out of his mouth, the little Biden said that was coherent in those 90 minutes exceeded Trump's lying bloviation by orders of magnitude. I cannot believe that Biden's handlers could not see that this would be the result after working with him for several days. How can an early debate to dispel notions of a frailing president reinforce it? We are living in dangerous times. As I write this, France's far-wing Le Pen's party, National Rally, is winning the first round of their swiftly called elections by substantial margins. In America, we do not have the latitude for wishful thinking or willful ignorance. There are forces out there that are ginning up fears that make otherwise good people make poor decisions. In that light, it is time for Democrats to not fall into the trap of fooling ourselves. Many are looking at polls stating that even after Biden's meltdown, the polls have not budged much. Many also fear that chaos if Biden decides to drop out. While the past is often a prologue, it does not have to be. We can realize our times and put our country before the party and person, especially in these existential moments. I recently wrote in another article the following. The president has indeed lost a step. I am not concerned about that. He is 81. Genetically, we age differently. That's not Biden's fault. Bernie is a year older than Biden, ambulates like a middle-aged man, and is quick to catch when his opponents made remarks that must be rebuffed. Trump is 3 years younger, but acts much more vibrantly when he tells his litany of lies with authority. Trump is a dummy, and nobody expects intellect from him. But President Biden could not finish a complete thought in the debate. He commingled subjects that did not belong together and was often confused. This was painful for the debate and what one can infer in meetings as we advance. I believe many of Biden's poor numbers on the economy, the border, and other issues have a genesis in his age and the problems that come with it. In other words, many are projecting his age on their discontent for just about every issue. Again, it may not be fair, but that is politics. For those who talk about Republicans coalescing around Trump even after the Hollywood access tapes, that is a poor comparison. Progressives and moderates are neither cultists nor do they fall in line. End of quote. This morning, Dr. Fauci appeared on ABC's This Week. He shares something in common with another octogenarian, Bernie Sanders. They are older than President Biden, but are extremely ambulatory, mentally lucid, and quick thinking. Americans will not unsee what they saw on Thursday. And trying to sugarcoat reality could come back and bite the entire country. Decline does not always occur linearly, but can be exponential, especially when stress is added to the mix. I want to repeat that statement again because it's very important. Decline, all of our decline, all of us decline, but our decline doesn't always occur linearly. It's not always pace. but it can be exponential, which means when a decline starts, it can go fast or it can go slow. We don't know. So we need to keep all these things when we're putting together what we actually intend to do. I have been listening to all sides of this discussion, and they all make valid points. The chaos of a change, Biden's stubbornness, loyalty to Biden, which I am as well. But first and foremost, it is about the country and all of us. We need someone who can neuter Trump. I repeat, we need someone who can neuter Trump. The litany of lies that he told, tomorrow I will be debunking them with actual numbers. And sadly, they're not even close. And not even his MAGA supporters know this. I do not have the answers, but I have a few thoughts for the mix that I think are worth considering. Based on their talent, intellect, and political skills, Vice President Kamala Harris and California Governor Gavin Newsom are two people I know who can neutralize Trump and his lies as they make the Democratic case. And I mean, when I say neutralize their lies, I mean toe to toe, mano a mano, not let him get away, take him off his game with vibrancy. I favor VP Harris because I think she can create Obama-style excitement. Remember, they have kept this woman under wraps. They have not given a chance for this woman to develop. Imagine if the president gave a powerful speech where he resigned from the presidency after saving us from the evils of Trump and MAGA. Harris would become the first female president of the United States. Biden then releases his delegates to support her. Because of her stance on women's reproductive rights, the women, most of whom cherish their freedom, which should be an inalienable right anyway, would likely be locked in. Moreover, we should be the first of color to hold, rather, she would be the first of color to hold the office, which could get a lot of folks who currently felt that Biden did not have their backs to get off the couch and vote en masse. However, incorrectly, they were thinking Biden didn't have their backs. Biden's legacy would be preserved to save the democracy not once, but twice. Wishful thinking? Nope. Out of the box? Yes. What are your thoughts? I think decisions have to be made quickly. We have some control, Biden willing, for the next few days. Afterward, we are at the mercy of vultures and maybe Biden's overall health. End of blog. Let's go to Patrick.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
Hey, I wanted to make a point that a lot of Americans, unfortunately, don't really understand debate, and that what Americans will consider a win is who zings the other person the most, and it doesn't have to be honest. There are rules to debates, but it doesn't seem like debates are really run by rules anymore. Not the type that you would while learning it in school. Another thing I'd like to point out too is that one of the favorite conservative presidents was the two-term president, and in his second term, he spent most of his time watching TV. He did this because he had Alzheimer's.
Reagan.
And
Yep.
Yes, sir. It seemed to be good enough for them.
No, let me tell you, I'm not disputing that at all, right? My thing is whether you can get there or not. You know, Reagan won in a landslide, and let's put it this way. The Democrats never created the caricature of Reagan the way the right has created a caricature of Biden, and how ineffective we have been to dispel that caricature of Biden. For me, this is not. Look, I just threw something out there, Patrick, right? I am not saying do this or not. I want whatever is best for the country, whatever it is. What you just said is so right. Reagan did. I mean, Biden has such a great staff. They did better than Reagan did. If you look at Biden's economy, it blows rings around Reagan's economy. No two ways about it, right? But
I
again,
agree.
but we are horrendous marketers of the good we do so that people can create a MAGA. If MAGA understood that what have made them successful going forward are progressive policies, they would never be MAGA. But we are not good sellers of our policies. Go ahead, Patrick.
I just wanted to make those 2 points that even if the president is in cognitive decline, if they're surrounded by people that are competent, they can still lead the country.
Look, I have no doubt. That's why I said whether Biden was to get out of there or not, I am voting a straight Democratic ticket. I'm not fearful about doing so because of some cognitive issue with Biden. And why? Because I know that the people that run the country is a whole group of people who were selected to be that did a darn good job. So I am with you, Patrick. I just want us to make the right choice to be able to cross the domain into winning. And my problem is, can we win things being the way they are now? That's my concern.
It is mine too.
Thank you, my brother.
I want to make. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's go to Derek. Come on in, Derek.
Hey, Alberto. Quickly, Alberto. They tried. If you know, Democrat tried with Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
And I like what you're saying. You said, is it wishful thinking? In a way, as long as you have the Judas factor within the black community, not black community, I just say all of the community, you're going to have that problem because if Kamala runs, they're going to do it just like they did Hillary Clinton. She got all the way to the nominee, and then what did they do? They went inside of the ballot box and they changed their mind. Now, I can honestly say, on our end, when it comes to the African Americans, they voted for her. But when the white women went in, they flipped on them.
Can I do a little pushback on you, Patrick? Let me do a little pushback, right? And it goes this way. Hillary Clinton has to cross the women thing, and for all practical purposes, she did. Because she won the election popular vote by 3 million people. Unfortunately, we are not a democracy, so progressives, etc., have to overperform. And what she didn't do was overperform. She lost by a total of about 80,000 votes. If she had gotten 80,000 more votes in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, it would have been President Hillary Clinton, the first woman president of the United States of America. But she already had won 3 million votes more than Trump. What I'm trying to say is, I'm trying to say that the country has evolved. The problem is because it's not a democracy, a real democracy, because the founders of this country instituted a bias against people like Clinton, people like black folks, Latinos, etc., because of how our demographics around the country is. They have instituted implicit and bias in our democracy, which makes it not a democracy. But I agree with what you have to say. Now, let me bring out the part about Kamala that you mentioned. I think what Obama did, however, is Obama showed that if you work and you create a particular level of excitement right through the demographics that you have control over, you can supersede not by a little, but by a lot. In the second election against Romney, Obama cleaned his clock. So by the largest vote I think it was actually more so than Biden's 7 million votes, if I recall correctly. So I'm saying I don't know what the answer is, Patrick. I want to hear all sides, but I don't know what the total answer is.
I'm like you. I want to hear all sides, and I would love to see a female president, but America still have not grown up, Roberto. And I've been here for many, many years.
I hear you, brother. I'm with you. And I think we got to get them grown in the Midwest. If we get them grown in the Midwest, my brother, it will be a woman in presidency. And we need, I think, more than ever now, and please don't take this as sexist women, but I think right now we need less testosterone in running the world and more, what is it? What
Thank you. Yes.
you understand what I'm saying?
Hey,
We
I
need
know
this.
what you
Yeah.
said.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to Brian. Come on in, Brian.
Yeah, you opened up a lot of topics, and of course, I disagree with them. Hillary Clinton was chosen not to run. That's a well-known fact. Who had a higher reemployment rate, Ronald Reagan or FDR? It was
FDR
Ronald
started,
Reagan.
of course, FDR started out with a long rate because he came after the Depression, of course.
Yeah, he had how many years? 12 years. Reagan had
A long
8 years.
Depression, yeah.
Yeah. What prolonged the recession and depression?
What prolonged the recession? No. Brian, I can't go over this with you because I once CNN put a chart on the screen that was completely wrong. And I went ahead and did some research and corrected them and passed the chart to them that I found pulling all that old data from the Roosevelt era. And guess what? I proved that they went ahead and put that chart back up at the chart I gave them at CNN after making that correction. Let me tell you something. There's a fallacy that the laugher, you know who laugher is, right? Do you know who laugher is?
What date was that? I want to check that.
What, with CNN?
Yeah.
Or with I don't remember what it is. It's when I did a lot of eye reports for CNN. I'll see if I can find it. But anyhow, let me just tell you something here real quickly. There's this author Laffer. Look up author Laffer and look up the Laffer curve. The Laffer curve is a piece of crap that was written on the back of a napkin that claimed there is a correlation between lowering taxes and improved economic activity. It's the biggest fallacy that can be disproven based on the turnover of money and how much every dollar turns over a tax cut versus a subsidy or something, cash thrown into the markets. It's not even close. But we'll have to talk about that another day because I gotta start bringing this down. So bring your other subject up other than this tax issue.
Okay, no, it worked real well when Kennedy did it, when he took it from 94 to 70%. It worked real well for him, but it didn't work for Reagan or Trump, right? So
absolutely not. If you take a look at Trump's economy, which was started based on tax cuts, and then you look at Biden's economy, which was stimulating the economy. Biden created a hell of a lot more jobs, and I'm not talking about jobs that were the recovery from the pandemic, but I'm talking about actual jobs after we reached status with Donald Trump's economy, which was nothing more than an extension of the Biden's economy. So I'm telling you, the numbers that you guys come out with, that they put out, that you guys have, are wrong, and I'll show you that tomorrow. It's completely wrong. And the good thing about it, Brian, is there will be the evidence for you. You will be able to look up the numbers and see it. Okay?
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, sir. All right, Johnny, come on in real quick before I give a closer.
I apologize for forgetting my final point. I was managing a car emergency, so I was distracted, unlike Joe Biden on the debate stage. So the point I missed to make when I brought up we're not here to practice democracy, but to defend it on a nuclear sub, the point I'm making to point out to Republicans is that when they want to say, oh, no, the Supreme Court says it's okay to tell government agencies, regulating agencies, that no, they cannot on their own unilaterally make regulations and enforce them. They need to go through Congress. Oh, yeah, you're going to have a congressional vote every time with Republicans in the mix? Nothing will ever get done. That's what they want. They want government to look ineffective and sloppy and inefficient. No, that's the point I was trying to make.
What I was wondering as I thought about what you just said there, right? When they said they have to pass it back to Congress, I sat down and wondered if and I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know if you can write a law like this. I'm wondering if Congress had written the law that says this way. The environmental agency would be responsible for creating clean water. whatever the agency says is the definition of clean water is what this law represents. I wonder if you could write the law in such a manner or not, because then what the Supreme Court is going to say, Congress don't have the authority to give the the agency a direction. I don't know. So those are the things that I think about. But anyway, I only got 1 minute left, Johnny. Anything else before I run out real quick?
Yeah, to dovetail what you and I just said just seconds ago, is what the Republicans love to do. They like to say abortion is not health care. So I've pointed this out in other places, and I would say, well, if you're saying abortion is not health care, who are you going to call if and when your wife gets in trouble with her pregnancy? Are you going to call a carpenter? Are you going to call a plumber?
Thank you, Johnny. Johnny, thank you, Johnny. That was a good one. Thank you, brother. That was a mayor of Politics Done Right, Johnny. All right, let's go to the studio for some closing words from both Howard and Jack.
Oh, not a whole lot for me. I don't think that Biden's going to step down. I don't think it would be wise to change horses in the middle of the stream. One bad performance and you're out. I don't think so. So I'm not sure that would be wise to do. I think it would be very wise to stay with Joe Biden, and he'll be more prepared for the next debate. I guarantee it. Jack, what you got?
Well, you Democrats out there, get your paperwork in order, okay? Get your voter registration done. Make sure you're on the rolls, and go vote these people out.
Absolutely so, folks. Listen to Brother Jack, Brother Howard. I am going to plead that I don't know. And the reason I plead that I don't know is we are in uncharted territories. People like to use 1968. Read my newsletter about 1968, the Democrat that everybody fears. And then let's talk about it another time. You can find that at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Anyway, folks, thank you all the callers. Love you all. Listeners, love you all. Welcome, Shakula Hairstylist. Welcome, Lizard Queen. Everybody else on the chat that I've missed. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what?